Digging into the NFL playoffs, and in this video, we will break down Wildcard Saturday. 2 games on the docket with the Rams at the Panthers and the Packers at the Bears. We will break down everything you need to know, including what to bet. Welcome to the channel. Ninja joined by Nick Holz. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and drop your favorite wildcard bet in the comments section below. All right, let's start with the Rams at the Panthers, Nick. Of course, the Rams, big road faves here. Minus 10.5, up a point from just a couple hours ago, total of 46.5. Nick, the Panthers, just lucky to be here. The Rams, on the other hand, been playing January football for weeks now. We don't need to talk about who is going to be more ready or anything like that. I think we all know. But how many points is too many points in this one? Or do you think maybe the spread is spot on here?
Yeah, the Rams big road faves for a reason here, right? Second in team total DVOA, the Panthers 25th over the past 5 weeks. The Rams third in total offensive EPA per play. The Panthers 25th yet again. Likely NFL MVP Matthew Stafford on one side with 10 playoff starts. Bryce Young starting his first playoff game on Saturday. So I'd say that spread is pretty spot on.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Bryce Young and that debut or upcoming debut in a moment here. But let's look at week 13, the meeting where the Panthers won by 3. Do we just forget about that, like toss that out the window? Was that just a complete outlier, or was there something tangible, some tangible evidence in there that maybe the Panthers can beat this team when it matters most? They held them to 7 points in the second half. Bryce Young was okay in that one. Your thoughts?
If you're a Panthers fan, it's not what you want to hear, but they're unlikely to be able to replicate that performance. I mean, the Rams had 3 bad turnovers in that game, 2 Stafford picks, and I believe 2 of them happened in Panthers territory as well. They only punted once back in week 13. LA put up 7.4 yards per play, had 22 first downs. So I'd love to say Carolina can sit there and run the football and try to follow that same blueprint, but it's just unlikely in the playoffs.
And I mean, they didn't have much success with the ground game against Tampa Bay in that final regular season meeting. Back to the Rams here, though. Do you think Davante Adams will be back for this one? And if not, Nick, what should bettors do in Rams sort of wide receiver, tight end prop markets for this one?
Yeah, with Adams being held out last week, I think he's definitely back for the playoff run. We saw what McVay did previously when he had a dominant X receiver in Odell Beckham Jr. and, of course, a dominant interior or do-it-all receiver with Cooper Kupp. Winning the Super Bowl, and I think that's what the Rams go for here. Adams reportedly tried to suit up last week, but the Rams staff had to hold him out. As far as props go, though, I really like 2 Rams tight ends on Saturday. I'm looking at both Colby Parkinson and Terrence Ferguson. They combined for 4 touchdowns over the past 2 weeks, so I'll likely sprinkle a little bit on both of them to score, and also be on Ferguson's longest receiving prop over. McVay just loves to dial up those play action shots and leak Ferguson out the back end. So I think he has a big game on Saturday.
You mentioned it earlier, but this will be, of course, Bryce Young's first playoff game. There is no doubt, in my opinion, that he showed some growth and some improvement this season, over 3,000 yards, 23 touchdown passes, just 11 picks. That's all good, but there were still some times where he looked incredibly flawed. He looked like the Bryce Young of years past. What do you think we can expect from him, maybe stat-wise against this Rams team or performance-wise? And do you have any thoughts on maybe any props for Bryce Young here?
Yeah, he's certainly still a work in progress. Obviously, being a shorter stature quarterback, it's tougher to see over your linemen. It's tougher to see over opposing defensive linemen and get the football down the field. He struggled against pressure against Tampa Bay last week, and I think the Rams dial it up a little bit more. So I like the Rams defense to bounce back here. Having said that, we've got Young's passing prop out at just 196.5 passing yards. I think that number only rises as the week goes along, so jump on that now. I like the over there, especially with a 10.5 point spread. You've got to think Carolina is chasing the game at some point, especially in the second half.
Fun fact for this one, only 3 teams with a worse point differential since the merger. The 04 Rams minus 73, the 2011 Broncos minus 81, the 2010 Seahawks minus 97. The bottom three, though, Nick, all won a playoff game. So one of those was the beast mode game. The other, I think, was Tebow to Thomas in overtime. Just a note there for anybody that might be on the Panthers for this one. But let's get your thoughts here. Like we said, double-digit spread here. The Rams 10.5-point road faves. Total 46.5. Rams obviously heavy on the money line, minus 575. The Panthers come back as plus 425. What do you like for this one, Nick?
All right, I'm on the Rams here. I got them at 9.5, but definitely shop around. I think that number continues to rise as the week goes along. We've talked about Davante Adams returning on offense, but just as importantly on defense, Chris Shula's unit gets Quentin Lake back. He's their hybrid safety linebacker who comes down the box to stop the run. And the Rams have actually been 30 yards per game better and opponents yardage wise against the run this season when Lake is on the field. So when the Rams shut down the Panthers rushing attack, I don't think Carolina has any other path to victory in this one. The Rams are 8-2 straight up in their last 10 as favorites of 7 or more. So if you can find this spread under 10 points, I'm all in on the Rams.
We'll get to the second game here in a second, but folks, spice up your NFL betting opportunities with Prop Professor, because right now you can get it for 50% off for the very first month. You can get hundreds of plus EV bets every day and get a real shot at finding long-term profit. NFL, college football, the NHL, and plenty more leagues, all covered here. There is a great arbitrage tool, fantasy optimizer in there as well. Easily the best bang for buck app on the market compared to its competition. So use the promo code SHARK50 at checkout and get 50% off for that first month. All right, interesting one here in the NFC North, Nick. Packers at Bears. DraftKings this morning was Packers minus 1.5. Now jump the fence. It's Bears minus 1.5. I believe over at FanDuel, it's still Packers minus 1.5. Just kind of all over the place here. But what do you make of the variety of spreads here that are available for this one early on?
Well, a lot of arbitrage opportunity out there, but I think that likely means a ton of public money coming in on the Bears, which is interesting because they finished 16th in point differential this year, 16th in DVOA, bottom 5 in the league in yards allowed per play, and lost 3 of their last 5 games. So I think this is a team that has overachieved due to the play calling brilliance of Ben Johnson and obviously Caleb Williams' ability to make plays out of structure of the offense. But as fans and bettors know, generally teams that overachieve in the regular season tend to get knocked out of the playoffs quickly. So it's going to be interesting on Saturday.
So interesting, because I think maybe you just answered my next question, because I wanted to ask you as a Packers fan, and for those of you that don't know, Nick is a Packers fan, but if you take the betting element out of this matchup, how do you feel about it for your Packers, just from an X's and O's perspective?
Yeah, not great. It's not the greatest matchup, honestly, for the Packers. Without 2 starting defensive linemen over the past 5 weeks, the Bears 4th in rushing success rate. Green Bay dead last in rushing success rate allowed at over 50%. So that means half the time when opponents rush the football against the Packers down the stretch of the season, they came out of it with a positive play, which is a bad spot to be against Johnson's rushing schemes. So not feeling overconfident about this one.
Jordan Love, of course, back. But the Packers sort of coming in, a little bit cold on that 4-game losing streak. So couple points here. A, has this team gone cold at the worst possible time? But then, of course, Nick, it just coincides to life without Micah Parsons. There's some glaring stats here. 13-point per game difference without him, 114 more offensive yards allowed without him, and just 1 sack in week 15, 16, 17. Is his presence, or lack thereof, just going to be missed too much in this spot?
Yeah, having a generational player like Micah Parsons on your defense covers up a lot of holes, right? He's getting to the passer so quickly that the defensive backs don't need to cover for nearly as long. All these plays with quarterbacks rolling out and making all these crazy plays down the field don't happen because he's there to chase them down. So obviously losing a type of player like that is very, very tough for the defense. And generally just the war of attrition has caught up to the Packers this season. No Parsons, no Davante White on the defensive line. Nate Hobbs now also on IR. Quay Walker's been banged up for a few weeks. And then offensively, right tackle Zach Tom, he's been out for a few games this season. Starting center Elgin Jenkins is on IR. Tucker Kraft, the Warlord, who had a huge season before getting hurt, also on IR. And then Josh Jacobs banged up. And finally, Jordan Love getting hurt. So it's been a rough month in Green Bay, and we'll see how the team bounces back here. I think LaFleur has them ready to play in this one.
Caleb Williams, has set a record for most passing yards in a season for this Bears team, finishing with over 3,900. Is there anything about him as a quarterback that worries you as a Packers fan? Like, did he do anything in particular in the 2 regular season meetings that concerns you? And what should bettors do with Caleb props for this game?
Well, he set a record for the Bears, but still no Bears passer has ever crossed 4,000 yards in history. So just want to throw that out there. I think what worries me about what Caleb Williams does, and especially against pressure, he just finds a way to make guys miss, whether that's inside or outside of the pocket. And we saw in the first game against the Packers, Micah Parsons is there to chase him down, push him out of bounds, hurry him up a little bit. And then in the second game, he got out and threw the football down the field, right? We saw in the game winner in overtime, he obviously hits DJ Moore down the field. He hit Colston Loveland a couple of times down the field as well. So that's what worries me most, is that even when the defense plays perfectly, how can he still make those plays out of structure and just defeat the defensive call? And I think that's what he'll have to do for the Bears to win this game.
You talked about Colston Loveland, a guy that has really gotten good as the season progressed and has come up big in various spots for this Bears offense. But how big would it be for the Bears if Rome Odunze is back for this one? And do you think that maybe he can sort of give this Bears offense a new wrinkle, considering he didn't play in either game against the Pack in the regular season here, Nick?
Yeah, it'd be huge. Just massive for them to pick up, Rome Odunze, who's been their top wide receiver this season. I mean, we've seen over the last few weeks, especially, DJ Moore and Caleb Williams not exactly on the same page all the time. He's shown much more chemistry with the younger guys in the offense, like Loveland, like Luther Burden, like Odunze, right? And the Packers secondary is just so beat up. We might start Trayvon Diggs, who we just picked up off waivers last week. So I think the lack of pass rush will allow Williams to make some plays. And if Odunze is down there to snap him up, all the better for the Bears.
Let's get to your pick here. Like we talked about earlier with this one, the line just kind of all over the place early on here. At DraftKings, Bears -1.5. At FanDuel, it's Packers -1.5. But Bears -1.5 at DraftKings. Total 45.5. The over -115. Bears -112 on the money line. The Packers razor thin here, -108. Lots of betting opportunities here, Nick, but what do you like?
Yeah, I love the over 45.5 here. I think we've got 2 young quarterbacks who know how to make plays down the field. They aren't afraid to throw the ball in those tight passing windows. Jordan Love leads the league in air yards per attempt over the past month. Caleb Williams 10th. And on the defensive side, the Bears 21st in dropback EPA per play over that stretch, and the Packers 29th. So the defensive stats are just awful here, and we have 2 incredible play callers as well to dissect those defense. And I think the quarterback's ready to make them pay. So I'm on the points here. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this Packers-Bears game. It's not going to be that old, black and blue showdown it used to be.